When I bet, I like getting something back, win or lose. That's why we're excited to announce our new partnership with Fanatics Sportsbook. It's the only sportsbook that gives you fan cash when you bet, win or lose. Use fan cash on all Knicks, NBA, or other fan gear, as well as bonus bets, collectibles, and more. It's the most rewarding place for fans to place their bets. Download the Fanatics Sportsbook app now and let the fan cash flow. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents, call 800-327-5050. New York residents, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents, visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
What's good, KFS? If you can hear the sound of my voice, that means you are tapped into another episode of the Casual Friday podcast live here on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel. Shout out to the chat. Y'all in here. Y'all ready. You know why we're here. We're here to talk about the Knicks, the week that was, and the week that is to come. And joining me, I'm Jeff J. And on this side right here, got my good friend, my guy, the host of 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, Fanatics own, the man of 1,001 jobs, Kazeem Famuyide. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. Can't nobody shake my pride. Can't nobody hold me down. What a game last night, Jeff.
And the good thing about it is we got to keep on moving and moving on to the second round because the Knicks finally took care of these motherfucking Detroit Pistons. When I tell you enough was enough. Enough was enough in this series. And I didn't know. Well, first, let's dial it back for a second. How did you feel going into game 6?
I let the tweet out hours before tip-off. I said, zero doubt in my mind it ends tonight. Zero doubt. And then that first quarter and that third quarter, I felt pretty good about my prediction, man. Like, it felt like this was the game that it ends it. But boy, they did not make it any easier on my blood pressure or any of my mental well-being or my kids' sleep last night when it came to that game. Insane.
There was a stat that I think TNT showed it, that the first and third quarter point differential for the Knicks was plus 27, and the second and fourth quarter point differential for Detroit was plus 27 as well. Well, we got to the point where the score was tied. So all of that goodwill that they built over the first two quarters got washed away over the second and the fourth. It was like odds and evens. And the thing, I'll say this, for me, going into that game, I said it should end. My confidence in whether it would end had nothing to do so much with I didn't believe in Brunson, I didn't believe in this. It's just them as a collective being a serious team. What I mean by being a serious team is stepping up, showing the killer instinct, and getting a team that isn't better than you. Just what it is. I got love for Detroit as a city. I got love for the Pistons. I am happy that the Pistons are back. But proof is proof, man. And truth is truth. They was not better than this team. This would have been a massive upset if they lost. And the fact that it got to 6 games was unreal in itself. So it needed to end. And I'll just sit around the whole day like, man, I think if they win the third quarter, they win this game comfortably. And they came up in the third. Mikal Bridges, they called him a madman. They called him a madman. My man said, yo, we got to get the juice going, the layup line. And they went. They outscored them by, I think, 11 in the third quarter alone. Like that was like evil genius hits the bong and comes up with something that's like scientifically implausible, but it actually worked.
Nah, it definitely worked. And I got to give Detroit credit, man. Like I said this to anybody that would listen. I said, if the Detroit Pistons were playing anybody but the Knicks, I would be rooting for them. They're a team that I like. They play a brand of basketball that I personally enjoy. In many instances, the Pistons kind of reminded me of the Knicks last year, as far as like their toughness was concerned, as far as having a lead guard who you believe in, great shooting. You know what I mean? Like they were never out of a game because they were tough. They could hit shots, and they got a guy, Cade Cunningham, who sky's the limit for him. But in that same sense, you're absolutely right. When the rubber met the road, the Knicks had the best player on the floor in Jaylen Brunson. And even if you don't think he's the best player, he's the player I trust the most out of anybody on that series and in the NBA. And for anybody who had any like doubts left about the confidence that the franchise has in him and the confidence that he has in himself, last night put all of those remaining questions to bed. It was probably the most satisfying series victory I could remember in my adult life. Like I all time, I mean, knocking out the Heat was great. You know, back in the day with Allen Houston, the best of 5 on the high bounce, that was pretty satisfying. Last year in Philly was incredible. Patrick Ewing with the arms up to the sky, and going to the finals, like that was another one. And I know it's not the conference finals. I know it's not even the NBA finals. But watching that entire series and the narratives that were being drummed up about your franchise player being a foul hunter or a flopper or a guy whose team isn't tough enough to gut out these wins, listening to everybody with a microphone and with an opinion say how much this Detroit Pistons has to have the Knicks on upset alert. And even leading to the last game, in Game 5 in Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks did not come out with it like a team ready to put their foot on a team's neck. So, yeah, I was confident that they were going to win Game 6, but I didn't have all the reasons to, just for everything I just mentioned. But in that case, man, what can you say about Jaylen Brunson that hasn't been said already? That like that guy is Knicks fans' prayers answered for 3 decades of inept point guard play, and just being able to watch him. He does everything right. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over. He hits every big shot you need him to hit. When you need him to get to the free throw line, everyone's going to talk about the crossover 3, and obviously it is. But man, there was a play when he gets stuck on the baseline and you think he's going to fall over, and he catches his balance and he's in between these 2 massive trees and still finishes just to keep the game within arm's reach in less than 2 minutes, down by 7 points. Like, there was just so many big plays that had to be made that he made every single time. And every single time the Knicks need a play to be made over the past 2 years, he's done it. He's done it. So I get it. There's going to be a lot of Knicks fans that are going to be happy, and a lot of Knicks fans that are sort of apprehensive about going up against the Boston Celtics. Listen, take the regular season, throw it out the window. It's the playoffs now. And you hear me clearly, Knicks fans. As long as number 11 is suiting up, you have a chance every single game. I don't care what the scores were in the regular season. I don't care that they're the defending champions. You're going in there with house money and with a guy that has let the entire league know, if it's close, he is going to kill you. He is going to kill you. Like, not since Mariano Rivera have I been more confident about a guy in crunch time in New York City. It's like, close the door, it's over.
For sure.
What a game for him. What a game.
Listen, you just said what more can be said about Jaylen Brunson that hasn't been said yet? I have some stuff for you. Fourth quarter, this playoff, 66 points in 54 fourth quarter minutes on 50% field goal shooting, 27 clutch points to lead the NBA. No one's even I think within 7 points at this point in the clutch. He has tied Bernard King for most 40-point playoff games in Knicks history. When he hit 30, he tied Willis Reed for, I want to say, is it second most in franchise history with 30-point games. I heard a stat. Jay Will gave a stat that he has more 30-point playoff games than Magic, Clyde Drexler, Ray Allen, Patrick Ewing, and Dominique Wilkins in only 29 playoff games. I have had to hear every single excuse for why Jaylen Brunson couldn't be him. First, it was an overpay. I'm old enough to remember.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember those.
They said he was overrated. You know, would you
like
rather
$110 million? What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And a wise man once said, "Would you rather be overpaid or underrated?" And somehow Jaylen Brunson is underpaid and underrated at the same time, because they said that they paid too much for him. Then they said he couldn't be a 1A on a championship team because he doesn't wear lifts in his shoes like Kai Cenat. Then it was, oh, he's good, but he's not an all-star. He got screwed out of that all-star spot. Then he got screwed out of an all-star starter spot. Then he gets the all-star spot, finishes top 5 in MVP voting. But somehow, some way, if you're the 5th best player in the league by MVP standards, you don't make first team All-NBA. Yeah, so they screwed him out of that. Every year they come up with a new narrative to say why Jaylen Brunson isn't who he says he is, and he just silences them every single playoff run. This is the one dude in the history of the league that I've seen compared to both versions of Mike Jordan. The first three-peat and the second three-peat of Michael Jordan. This is who his competition is in the playoffs. But yet, people got to make up new narratives to exalt up-and-coming stars. There's no logical reason other than trying to be predictive with your take, trying to be ahead of it so that you look smart. Because as you said, Kaz, a lot of smart people, a lot of good friends of ours, that Cade Cunningham was the best player in this series when he's just been a pup who ain't been in the kennel yet.
And I love me some Cade. Don't get me wrong. Yes. I love me some Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
But the takes that I was hearing about this series, and here's the thing. I'm not even mad at them, Jeff. I understand why they say what they said, right? Cade Cunningham fits the bill. Number 1 overall pick, turned around a historically great franchise, 6'6", does it all. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if next year he's in conversations with like Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic as far as like this guy could be one of the faces of the league. I think Cade Cunningham is that good. He fits the bill. He checks all the boxes. The reason why people don't like to give Jaylen Brunson that accolade or those credentials is because every single time he makes people look foolish. That's been his MO his entire career, even back in high school in Chicago. Like it was the height. And then in college, it was, oh, well, that was college. He's not going to do that in the NBA. He wins 2 national championships. That only gets him a 2nd round pick to the Dallas Mavericks, to a team who already had a lead guard that they drafted in that same draft. And then he has a great playoff series in the Western Conference against Phoenix, against the team that ends up going to the NBA Finals. And then when he leaves, they're like, oh, you know, he's too big for his britches right now. The reason why people don't give Jaylen Brunson that credit is because to give him that credit, you have to admit that you were wrong about him. And getting people to admit that you're wrong about something, especially in this industry, is a hard thing to do unless they shove it in your face, which Jaylen Brunson has done time and time and time again. If the Knicks happen to win this series and Jaylen Brunson didn't play the way Jaylen Brunson did, those takes would still be out there. They would still be saying like, oh, the Knicks won, but man, that Cade Cunningham. Jaylen Brunson made sure that everybody watching that game knows that when it comes to crunch time basketball, when it comes to winning time, at once upon a time, it was Dame Lillard. Another point of time, it was Kobe. There are guys in the league that when that dude has the ball in their hands, you're shitting bricks at that point. Like, and Jaylen Brunson has become that guy. I understand the Boston Celtics are the defending champions. I understand they are huge. They are deep. They have great coaching. The Celtics are everything that everybody says they are. If you're a Knicks fan, you should be so happy that everybody in the world is talking about the Boston Celtics the way they're talking about it, because now you give Jaylen Brunson yet another opportunity to shove it in people's faces that they were wrong about him. And as history has served in the past few playoff series, Jaylen Brunson makes a living off of proving people wrong. So be glad that nobody gives the Knicks a snowball's chance in hell in beating the defending champions, because now you're playing with house money. And now Jaylen Brunson, a guy who has shown time and time again that he does this, has one more opportunity to do this on the biggest stage possible. Biggest stage thus far. Thus far.
Listen, man. Jaylen Brunson, we trust. That's really what it is at this point. And if we're gonna, and I will keep it 1,000.
And it was more than Jaylen. It was more than Jaylen.
We're gonna talk about everybody, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna keep it real. Game 2 was not the best example of the anti-flopping allegations, because that man was on a mission. That man was on a mission to draw fouls, and I understood why. But if you were trying to make the case that he's just like everybody else, he was different in game 2. And I understood why a lot of people would try to pile on. But to make that his personality trait, it was egregious. And the same way people are trying to call him a merchant and a grifter, I'm calling these pundits clout chasers and clout grifters and clout merchants, because this has been a narrative to big up the other teams. I didn't know Joel Embiid and them needed this narrative to go up against Jaylen Brunson when they were the 7th seed and the Knicks were the 2 seed, because no matter what, they do not believe. They don't believe, and it's fine. The scariest thing in the world when it comes to the NBA is Jaylen Brunson off a bad game, because he puts the do-rag on, he puts the hood on, and he doesn't smile until the end of the next game. And that man, I would love to see the stats of after he's had a poor playoff game, how he bounces back, because usually he puts up a classic. He's like your favorite artist. They might put out an album and you like, and they tell you just wait on it, just wait on the next one, and then the next one comes out, and it's no doubt about it. So shout out to Jaylen Brunson. Shout out to the Knicks. I will say this. One of the things that gave me confidence in this series, Kaz, was the Pistons folded in every single fourth quarter. Yes, they closed out, but it wasn't them slamming the door. It was the Knicks shutting the door in their face, right? Because if you look, the first game, the 21-0 run or whatever the case may be, where the Knicks took that. The second game, the Pistons were up by double digits, and Mikal Bridges had a wide open three-point shot. The Knicks were the worst point differential team in the third quarter of teams in the playoffs this year in the first round. The worst. They literally were losing games because of the third quarter. But yet they were in every single fourth quarter ready to either take the win or take the lead. That's one reason why I wasn't worried, but I was pissed, because it should not have come to that. There was times where they could not break the game. They'd be up 12, they'd be up 13, but they couldn't get it to 20. They couldn't get it to 25. They could not break that team. So that was more annoyance than anything. But if we're going to talk about changing narratives, we might have to talk about Mr. F them picks. Mr. Mikal Bridges. I told you, they called him a madman, Kaz. And the games after he's made a suggestion, he's put out a classic. All I'm saying, Portland, he just said, yo, my guys from Phoenix might need a little bit more run. I believe in them. You know how Tibbs is. That's my guy, but not shitting on him. I'm just saying. Game-winning shot, has a big game. This game, he's like, yo, why don't we just do some layups at the third quarter? Trust us. We get some layups going on, and we going on. And and he has a phenomenal game. Like you said, it ain't just about Brunson. They needed a whole team effort, and Mikal was the one who has put his money where his mouth is after he opens his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, Mikal Bridges was indispensable last night, man. Like that dude was hitting every big shot. That tip in after the miss was probably just as big as the game winner, because you don't even get to that if Mikal Bridges doesn't crash the boards and get that tip in. And on top of that, the dunk. We got the Wingstop kind of combination with OG Anunoby blocking Tobias Harris at the rim. Josh Hart getting that rebound, pushing it to Mikal Bridges, left-handed flush over Cade Cunningham. I mean, Mikal Bridges is always going to be scrutinized because, oh my God, we gave away 5 picks to go grab him. And I understand that. But at the same time, in a lot of big games this year, Mikal Bridges has shown up. Christmas game, he shows up. That Portland game, he shows up. The times where Jaylen Brunson was hurt towards the end of the season, Mikal Bridges was playing his best basketball. When he was at a little bit more freedom to go around, it wasn't just much of a catch and shoot guy. That mid-range that he has is just as automatic as a shot as anybody in the league. But, back to the Pistons, those fourth quarters, I mean, it was a combination of great Knicks defense led by Mikal and those guys, and just youthful turnovers, right? Like the turnovers that Cade Cunningham had. And granted, the Knicks definitely played him into those tough spots. But, that was the big difference in this series to me. Anytime that it was a close fourth quarter, and this is why, you had to miss me with those missed foul calls and whatnot. Like, there were so many boneheaded plays that the Pistons made down the stretch that the Knicks just did it. Like, I think all those stats that you ran out about clutch time and all that type of stuff with Jaylen Brunson, the most important stat, you know how many turnovers he had in clutch time this entire series?
I think 0.
Yeah. 0 turnovers from your point guard, from your bucket getter, from your initiator. That, and as opposed to Cade Cunningham, who was averaging 6 turnovers a game in the series, right? And again, that's a guy who is going to be around for a long time. And I'll tell you this, I don't want to see them next year when they get Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart and all those guys. And I'm sure they'll get a couple more vets back there too. I don't want to see them.
That's a next year problem for sure.
That's a next year problem. But Mikal Bridges took a lot of crap this year. And you know what? You got to say fuck the picks after a while, right? Like,
sir, you got to, bro. He's
a guy who has won at a high level with Jaylen Brunson. He's a guy who has competed at the highest level in the NBA, at the NBA Finals. And he's a guy, this series coming up is the truly fuck them picks series. You trade for Mikal and you sign OG Anunoby to go up against the Boston Celtics and say, slow down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That is what we are here for. That's what this team was built for. This team was built for the green and white.
Exactly.
So, that being said, all is forgiven in the regular season. The Mikal Bridges, bad games, all that type of stuff. If you come in and you hold what you were brought in to do down against the Celtics, you were brought here to lock up Jason Tatum and lock up Jaylen Brown when it's crunch time in the playoffs. So that being said, the Knicks did what they had to do. As fun as this Pistons series was, as tough as they've been, the Knicks did what they had to do to win this series. They were supposed to win the series. They did win this series. Competition stepped up immensely with Boston on Monday night, but this is what this entire season was built around. These next 4 to 7 games right here. This is what it's for. So, and it's on the back of Mikal Bridges. So shout out to him. He was great. Karl-Anthony Towns, even though he didn't really shoot that well, man, I think his rebounding was stupendous. He had some big shots again in crunch time. He had a big steal, big turnover on Jalen Duren that got him to the line and slowed the game down a little bit. But I don't foresee Karl-Anthony Towns having to deal with that same sort of physicality that Detroit sort of gave him in this series. So I think the matchup with him and Porzingis is going to be really, really special. I can't wait for that. It's going to be a fun series, man. Throw the regular season records out the way. Let's get it cracking. It's 0-0.
Casual Friday Live, Jeff J, Kaz, and you tapping in to talk about the Knicks and their 4-2 series win over the upstart Detroit Pistons. Tap in, give us your questions, send us your super chats. We got you. We got all of that covered. Kaz, did you have Knicks in 5 when you started, or did you go 6?
I had Knicks in 6, but once they won that, once they took both road games, I was like, nah, they close it out. They got to close it out at the Garden. They had to close it out at the Garden. But I always had Knicks in 6 from the jump, because I have a lot of respect for the Detroit Pistons and JB Bickerstaff. I think he's probably going to be, outside of Kenny Atkinson, the coach of the year this year. But man, we were recording this week for 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I was talking to Carmelo just about everything about this. He was the guy for the longest time that was like, yo, the Detroit Pistons are dangerous. They're dangerous. I watch them every single week. He thought they were going 7. I was like, once they gave up game 5, I was like, Melo, I don't want this to go back to Saturday. He said, oh, no, it's going back to Saturday. It's going back. It's going back to the Garden. So, I mean, thank God for Jaylen Brunson, and that didn't come to pass. But it was the exact type of series that you need in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like they took a little bit of flesh from you, but I think ultimately the Knicks are going up against their stiffest competition as healthy as they've been all year.
Yep,
basically, and with all their guys, and that was the big thing last year. With all their guys, can the Knicks really stand a chance against the league's elite? We're about to see.
Yeah. I know a lot of Knicks fans were hoping to get the Bucks and not the Pistons, because they knew this series was going to be what it was. I said 6 also, just because I thought Detroit would get one. I had the Knicks tricking off at least one of these games, and game 5 was one of them. Game 2, I'll give more credit to the Pistons on that, although because they smoked these games in the same way, so that is who they are. So I can't say that was like a fumble. Game 5 to me was the fumble, but I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to go 6. I was hoping 5, but I knew they don't like to do stuff easy. So 6-6, and now we're here. I'm glad that they played the Pistons, because I think they needed to find another gear, dig down into some deeper depths, get in the mud, get dirty, find that grit. Because like it or not, I know Josh Hart had some comments about how he hated that this team was getting compared to last year's team. But when you play a certain way and you don't adopt qualities that should be consistent with the identity of the franchise, of course people are going to compare. It's natural. We are on the internet talking. Comparison is inevitable. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what was going to happen. One of the main comparisons was, hey, we don't know if y'all are that gritty. We don't know if you're as gritty as this team. And it's not a soft conversation, because I never thought this team was soft. It was, do y'all get your lunch pail and put your hard hat on, and will you get to work?
Can you win ugly?
Yes.
Can you win ugly?
And we know Josh Hart is about that life, but we didn't know anybody else. I mean, there was times where Mikal Bridges saw balls on the floor. He was like, y'all good? I ain't done anything. I'm Mr. 559. Actually, he's Mr. 600. Mr. 600. I'm diving. I got to see a clear lane. I ain't trying to get rolled up. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of intensity that they did not display consistently throughout the regular season. I've spoken ad nauseum on multiple platforms about how disappointed I was when they allowed Trae Young to do the dice roll on the logo in the play-in tournament. And once again, I'm not saying that you go there and snuff them, but there are ways. You saw it in this playoff series. There are ways to make your point without having to fight. Like, this was the most respectful, contentious series that I've seen. It's like if you told somebody, a Gen Z baby, yo, how was 90s playoffs like? I would say, look at Knicks Pistons, and you get an idea for what it's like.
Yeah, it was playoff basketball the way it was playoff basketball the way it was meant to be played. Like, there were games that it got a little rough, but that's what it was. Like, you're supposed to every possession is supposed to feel like life or death because the refs are going to let you decide it, right? Like,
Exactly.
and props to them. I got to give the referees credit, right? Like, they didn't ever feel like, it never felt like they took over the game. At times where it's felt like they should have, like even when it got contentious, even when there was, some conversations about foul baiting, when there was conversations about, just the overall grittiness of this series. Ultimately, the refs let the players decide it, and I got to give them that. And that's how it used to be, man. Like, you don't want to see a whistle decide a game or a series. And even though I can feel for the Detroit Pistons fans, not getting that last call for Tim Hardaway Jr. in Game 4, you got to remember that entire third quarter where the refs just let them pretty much have a Royal Rumble and just go at it. And I wasn't even mad at it. I was like, oh, if that's the way we're gonna play, I like that style of basketball personally. You know what I mean? Like, I liked it. So just
consistent.
As long as it's consistent, that's all. That was my only thing. I was like, as long as this joint is consistent, I have no problem the way it was called. And that's how basketball with stakes are supposed to be played. Like, it's not pretty sometimes. Like, it's supposed to be, you're gonna get a little bruised and bumped and all that type of stuff. But that's the game. It's a contact sport. I don't know where y'all grew up in where basketball wasn't a contact sport, but the kind of hoops that we grew up on, man, that's how it's supposed to look. That's why I give all the salutes to Detroit, because they low key restored the feeling. Like, I don't got the same feeling. I don't have the same feeling I had after the Philadelphia 76ers series last year, where it felt like, Embiid was playing a little dirty and it wasn't hunting and all that type of stuff. Like, it was like an honor amongst competitors between those two teams.
It was street ball. It was street ball. Like, and for all of the slander we set Malik Beasley's way, I'm gonna say thank you, because you made this shit interesting. Like, you made it playoff basketball. All the shots, all the Snapchat. Like, you knew how to work the crowd. You knew how to work the crowd. You were a great
generate heat. He's a heat magnet.
He's a heater. He generated enormous heat, bro. And I gotta say, but you know what happens when you generate that heat, you might get scorched. So when you fumbled that ball out of bounds, I was like, cut off the mentions, turn off notifications, because it is going up. Your Snapchat must have been on fire, because everybody was waiting to see what you was going to say. But that's what I respected about the Pistons. It felt like I was watching Rucker hoops, Rucker hoops for like 6 games, but playoff edition, right? Talk about a couple more plays before we get into these super chats. What did you think about Cat's first playoff series in the Knicks uniform?
Man, I think we don't win the series without him. He didn't shoot the ball the greatest in Game 6, but man, did that dude hit some big shots throughout this entire series. Obviously, we're all going to remember that 30-foot bomb in Game 4. In Game 1 and Game 3, he was excellent. I think he had a career high in points per game leading into Game 6. But at the same time, man, his rebounding, all the maybe he makes some funny sounds when he goes for it, and maybe he looks a little different than your typical big man when he goes for a rebound, but he's far from soft, man. He gets in there, he mixes it up. He pulled down 15 rebounds yesterday, and he needed every single one of those.
Crazy.
And that's the
Durant
greatness.
only had 6.
Yeah.
Averaging double digits.
That's the greatness and the versatility of Karl Anthony Towns. Even if he's not putting up 25, 30 points, he's still going to grab a ton of rebounds. He's still going to spread that floor out once he catches that at the top of the key. And I understand why a lot of people want to see the 2 big lineup, but with Mitch in that lineup, you can't get that space that Jaylen Brunson eventually got at the end of that game. Like, when he catches that at the top of the key, the big man's out there. He's a threat to drive. He's a threat to shoot. But at the same time, when he passes it over to the corner or he's trying to hit a cutter, that paint is wide open. And his ability to spread the floor, just his presence out there, gives this Knicks this entirely different dynamic that they simply didn't have last year. So I thought he was a very good in this series. But the good thing about that is I don't think he was great, right? Like he has an opportunity to be great in the next series. Like we've seen Karl-Anthony Towns have great games this regular season where he looked like a first team all NBA guy. And this series, he was very good. He was very good. But the opportunity to step into that greatness that we've seen in the regular series, especially in this matchup with Kristaps Porzingis, which has served as the X factor for this Celtics team for the past 2 years. He has been the ultimate sort of X factor floor stretcher. The reason why Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum get all this space to operate in is because of Kristaps Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got Karl-Anthony Towns in there who gives you that same sort of ability to stretch the floor. And in many ways, this Knicks team is a mirror image of the Boston Celtics. It's like it's a funhouse mirror version of the Boston Celtics. And, certain areas, there's an advantage that the Boston Celtics have in their starting five. In areas, I think there's advantages that the Knicks have in their starting five. So Karl-Anthony Towns, man, there was a whole lot of discussion about his toughness and what he's going to bring in the playoff games, and every salty Minnesota fan telling me, "Oh, you just wait when Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't show up in the playoffs." And da 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 da. I'm like, the same guy who just went to the Western Conference Finals last year. That guy, I'll take him. I'll take that guy on my team. So he was very good. But he has an opportunity to be great in this next series, and I think the rough and tumbleness of this Detroit series is going to open him up to be a lot more productive against the Boston Celtics.
For sure. I say we got the entire Cat experience from what people say, what he actually showed on the court. He had 3 phenomenal scoring games, 3 subpar for his standards. What I liked about Cat, I think his defense needs to vastly improve. But what I love about him is that in crunch time, he gave you at least one play that helped shift the game. That steal, and when he drove and he got fouled, hit the first one, tightened the fuck up on the second one, but made enough disruption so that they got it out of bounds. He was making things happen, and just his presence out there. He deferred to Brunson to let him go ISO and go into clutch mode, but his presence out there helped open the space up for Brunson. So
I will say this, though. There are definitely moments in the fourth quarter that I'd like to see him be a little bit more demonstrative and get into basketball. There were definitely certain fourth quarters where I don't think he shot the ball enough, or at least got enough shots on goal, as my hockey fans would say, just getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line. He's an incredible free throw shooter. As much as I love watching the Jaylen Brunson hero ball, and we all fall in love with it, and last night he hero balled like he never hero balled before. There are certain times where you're like, all right, you got to get Cat involved. You got to let him touch the rock. You got to get to the free throw line or something, or just let him get an open look. And, in game 4, we saw it where he had that crazy fadeaway jumper, and then obviously the 30-foot bomb to give them the lead and ultimately the win. But I would love to see him get a little bit more demonstrative in the fourth and demand the rock a little bit more and get that offense going.
I don't know if that's in his personality. That might be exit interview like, yo, you need to call out for the ball. Like when you have the advantage, like you don't just got to say, oh my God, when you get fouled or you get bumped. Oh my God, then when you open or when you want the ball too, like you can use it on offense as well. We have Melo's fuck out of here. We got Cat. Oh my God.
Fuck out of here, I got
it. We got those. So you got to use your trademark about to your advantage. Before we get to the super chats, I want to make a little commotion. A lot of commotion, actually, for Josh Hart and OG Anunoby. First off, OG, 22 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Textbook
OG game.
Bro, baby Kawhi, he came from the same factory. He might be the T1000.5, right? Same factory, but different model. This dude, man, you want to talk about your money's worth? You got your money's worth for OG. He gave you clutch buckets when you needed them. He steadied the defense. He is scary on the chase down, bro. Like just watching him dupe people into thinking that you have enough space and be able to get that block. I think his abilities and what he gives to the game are always going to remain underrated because it's not the sexy things that we like. But what he does, he is so transformative. That's the reason why when they made the trade last year, they went on that spectacular January run, and he had the ridiculous plus minus streak going. This dude has been everything that we thought and even more. And Josh Hart, the Draymond Green of Carmelo Anthony's trademark, Kaz.
Yes, sir.
Josh Harted like peak Josh Hart in this series. And I don't think you can make an argument he was the second best Knick in this series. I don't think they win this series without him. He just knows how to win and how to make plays and how to make himself maximize his own potential. And I think that's like a championship caliber guy that any team would be better to have on their squad. So I'm glad he's with our squad.
Yeah, that's why he demands the money he gets. Any 3-and-D guy that effective is indispensable to a team. You could plug a guy like OG Anunoby on all 32 NBA teams, and your team is better because of it. He locks up. He plays the best wing defense on the best wing player. He spreads the floor as a shooter. He's a great rebounder, and when he gets to the cup, his shoulders are so big, he will literally put you in his backpack and get to the rim and still finish. He dunks everything, and he has a temperament that you love in your franchise player as a second, third, or sometimes fourth option. When you're getting 20-plus points from your third or fourth option, depending what the day is, that's high-level basketball right there, man. So OG, one person, we talk about the 5 picks and all that type of stuff. Haven't heard a single peep about OG's contract this entire season.
At all.
Not a peep.
The worst contract in the league, some said. Worst contract in the league.
Hey, I'll take it.
And shout out to I can't remember the last name, but Casey, the strength and conditioning, the medical person they got from the Mavs. Came over this season. OG had one of his healthiest seasons in the league.
Barely missed any games.
Super underrated to have a good medical
Casey
staff.
Smith? Casey Smith is the name?
Yes. Super underrated to have a medical staff. I remember for years the Suns had the best medical staff in the association, and when Grant Hill went over there and was rejuvenated, they were like, "Yo, what are you injecting?
What's in the water?
What is in the water? Are y'all in the y'all going to the grottos in Tempe? What the hell is going on?" But yeah, man, looking forward to Boston. Looking forward to this series. I'm more excited for it now that they ended the game in that fashion than I was before. I know a lot of Knicks fans have felt like this is like an inevitability, but as we know from last year in the playoffs, anything can happen. Jaylen Brown is on a wonky knee. Drew Holiday sat out a couple of games because of his hamstring. Jason Tatum, you wouldn't know it, but he got a little bit of a banged up wrist. Kristaps Porzingis is Kristaps Porzingis. Unfortunately, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. You just got to show up. The Knicks crumbled when they faced the Pacers. They just lost bodies, right? They didn't have enough bodies left, and the Pacers showed up, and they did what they had to do to win that series in 7 and take advantage of their situations. Anything can happen.
But this is what the playoffs are about. This is what the playoffs are about. I don't care that they lost every single game in the regular season. If you're gonna end our season, if you're gonna end the next season, you gotta do it to them. And at this point in time, this is what you play for. All the pressure's on Boston. Boston has to beat the Knicks. They haven't lost to them in X amount of games or whatever. All the pressure is on you. Hold down home court, or do all this, do all that. Like, I'm watching First Take. Folks are like, man, if the Knicks even push it to 6, they should see it as a success. And they're playing the waiting game because they know Boston can't hold on to all these players financially and yada, yada, yada. I don't want to hear none of that. If you in it, you got a chance. I've seen too many times in the playoffs, teams that dominated in the regular season. Things happen. Things happen in the course of games. So I'm not ready to just be like, oh, it's an inevitability that the Celtics are going to win. Anything can happen once that ball's tipped. This is why they play the games, people.
Exactly.
That's why they play the games.
And you see the evolution in teams throughout the playoffs, and hopefully this series unlocks something in this team that they can take to reverse the fortunes and the ties that they've had against the Celtics this season. All right. GMAC, let's get to these super chats. Let's run through them. Thank you so much. First off, from Fanatic Sportsbook, they gave us $100 in fan cash. Knicks in 6. Here's $100 in fan cash to put towards a new Brunson jersey. Currently $80 in the Fanatic store. Do you think he's already done enough to see number 11 race to the rafters at MSG one day? Also, with the $20 fan cash remaining, who do you like in the 2 remaining West games as a $20 bonus bet? Kaz, I'll throw that to you real quick. Do you think that 11 should be retired? And like as of now,
I don't know what brave soul will ever try to wear number 11 for New York after Jaylen Brunson is done with it, right? So has he done?
I'm keeping it real. Nobody's ever wearing that number again.
No, I think Jaylen Brunson's jersey is going to go up in the rafters. He's already an all-time great Knick. He's already in the very small room of Clyde, Ewing, Melo,
Willis,
King, and Willis. Like he's in that room already. The things that he's done in the playoffs, the awards he's won, the accolades he's racked up, the way he's changed the way this franchise is looked at around the league is enough to put his number in the top of Madison Square Garden one day. He is a franchise changer, a culture changer. And man, this will always be known as the Brunson era. If your playing time is called the blank era, you're gonna get your jersey retired, right?
Yeah.
And we are living the Brunson era. If you're a New York Knicks fan, as far as the remaining 2 Western Conference games, I like the Golden State Warriors closing it out tonight against the Houston Rockets. I think. I know Stephen Curry's thumb is a little gimpy, but it's Stephen Curry. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a way that they push this back to 7. Jimmy Butler is always going to be Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, and the Houston Rockets, in some ways, very similar to the Detroit Pistons, right? Like young, well coached, lots of energy, lots of athleticism on that squad and shot making. But at the same time, man, I think they're just a year away. I think that's a team that nobody's going to want to see this time next year. And I think the poise of Butler, Green, Kerr, and Curry will probably be too much for them tonight. So I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors to close it out. And in the second game, Game 7, Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers. Man. Denver Nuggets are the home team. It's really hard to lose a Game 7 at home, especially when you got Nikola Jokic, who they're probably going to empty the clip off. I want to see the Clippers advance just because I like seeing James Harden sort of get back into doing James Harden things, and Kawhi being healthy makes the entire Western Conference very, very interesting. But I'm not going against the home team at a Game 7, so I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win this one.
I like that. I'm with you with the Warriors. I think that series is just over. I think they're going to out-experience them. I would put that $20 on either team to win by 1 to 5 points for Denver Clippers. I think this is going to be a close one. I think it's going to be another close one. I really can't call it, but we got a goodie, and I'm glad that's the only Game 7 we watching tomorrow, because I would have been sick if it was anything else.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Fanatics. What we got next? Claudio. Bo, thank you so much, Bo. Shout out Kaz, Big Van Brunson, best heel in the A.
Yes, sir. All those chants. I don't think Jaylen Brunson's ever gotten the Trae Young treatment, but he showed what he does when you test him, man. So shout out to JB.
He'd be more like Bianca Belair to me. Like he's getting paid, but he's getting booed, and we don't know why.
Why are they booing him?
He did one thing, and now a section of the fans are on his back. So thank you, Bo. Appreciate you. Dirty Dancer, do we believe in moral victories versus Boston?
No. I mean, it's the playoffs. Like these are the moral victories are in the regular season, right? Like if you're playing close to the regular season, you can be like, all right, we can do X, Y, and Z. Like if you're a Knicks fan, you should go in there expecting to win the series, because why not? Why go in there if you're a fan and it's like, oh, yeah, we're just gonna whistle and just roll over and die. Like, I don't think the Knicks are just going to roll over and die against the Boston Celtics. They're going to play like that, nothing to lose. And I think it's going to be a tough 6-game series.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you didn't put this team together to have moral victories.
Nope.
And you didn't put them together to have moral victories. I don't know if you feel better about yourself. I mean, Brunson after the Indiana series said that it wasn't a success. The season wasn't a success because they didn't win the title, right? So that already tells you where the mindset is at. I don't think there's any moral victories in this one. I would like a regular victory. I'd like a victory, not a moral victory.
Victories are nice.
Like. Kaz, thank you so much for joining us, bro. I really appreciate you talking about the Knicks, tapping in with us. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can catch me on 7 p.m. every single week, dropping Thursdays on YouTube and everywhere you stream podcasts. We just recorded a great episode with J.R. Smith this week, so make sure you check that out. Also, Carlos Miller, check out the latest episode with Malik Neighbors out right now. You can catch me on the Ringer Wrestling Show on the Ringer Podcast Network. And yeah, man, Say Less with Kaz, Loki, and Rosie every Monday on my podcast network, youtube.com/Kazeem.
So I love it. I
appreciate you as always.
Yes, sir. You already know. You find Kaz anywhere and everywhere on the internet. You're going to find him. Tap into his action. Thank you so much for joining us on Casual Friday. Knicks Film School YouTube channel. Like this video if you love what you're hearing. Comment, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. Say his name. He will appear. Believe in Jaylen Brunson, Knicks fans. Get ready for game 1. We're going to see you next week on Casual Friday. And hopefully, we talking about a sweep for the Knicks to sweep the Celtics.
Let's
I would
hope.
love that. So I am speaking it all into existence. Thank you for tapping in with us. Enjoy your Friday. Go Knicks. This needs to be an emoji too.